warrior. Pause for a moment and really feel this. Every second of your life, from your very first breath until this very instant, there's been one presence that never left your side. One witness who saw your triumphs and your heartbreaks, your courage and your doubts, your light and your darkness. That witness is you. Yet in the noise of the world, it's easy to forget that sacred bond. Every morning, before your feet even touch the ground, life begins to pull at you. Notifications, expectations, responsibilities, all demanding pieces of your attention and energy. And slowly, almost without noticing, you drift away from the most vital relationship you'll ever have, the relationship with yourself. We live in a world that never stops asking for more. From the instant you open your eyes, the world begins its silent tug-of-war for your attention, your focus, your emotions, your very sense of peace. The messages come fast and loud. Be productive. Be perfect. Be available. To be more. Each request seems harmless on its own, but together they pull you farther and farther from the quiet truth inside you. You begin the day scrolling through everyone else's lives before even greeting your own reflection. You chase deadlines and expectations that were never truly yours. You smile on the outside while feeling a slow emptiness within. The constant noise of should and must drowns out the soft voice of your own needs and desires. Over time, this disconnection becomes the silent wound of modern life. You forget to ask simple questions like, what do I want? What do I feel? Who am I becoming? You start living on autopilot, moving through days that look full but feel hollow, and without realizing it, you drift inch by inch away from the most sacred bond you possess, the relationship with yourself. But here's the truth, the Stoics understood long before us. When you lose yourself to the noise of the world, you lose the foundation of everything else. You cannot give peace, love, or purpose to others if you no longer feel it within. The journey back home begins the moment you decide to stop listening to the world's demands and start listening to your own soul again. The ancient Stoics taught that loving yourself is not an act of vanity, but a disciplined practice of wisdom. They believed the soul is shaped and colored by the quality of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If those thoughts are kind, patient, and rooted in reason, your inner world grows steady and strong. But if they are cruel, anxious, or self-defeating, your spirit slowly begins to fade." To the Stoics, self-love was not indulgence, it was duty. It meant tending to your inner garden with care and courage, every day cultivating virtues like self-respect, temperance, and gratitude, while pulling out the weeds of comparison, fear, and self-doubt. True love of self is not found in comfort or ego. It is forged in moments of awareness, restraint, and honest reflection. In our chaotic modern lives, this teaching feels even more urgent. Self-love is no longer a gentle suggestion. It has become a survival skill. Without it, the noise of the world will shape your thoughts for you. It will convince you that your worth depends on performance, appearance, or approval. And before long, you begin living for applause instead of authenticity. But when you practice Stoic self-love, something shifts. You stop chasing validation and start embodying quiet strength. You learn to choose calm over chaos, discipline over distraction, purpose over pressure. You realize that every loving thought toward yourself is not weakness. It's an act of defiance against the world's demand to be anything other than who you truly are. So begin here. Choose your thoughts carefully. Like a painter choosing colors that will define the soul's masterpiece, speak to yourself with dignity, act with integrity, and protect the peace that grows from inner respect. That is the Stoic path to self-love, a daily practice of devotion to the self, not through indulgence, but through discipline. In a world spinning faster each day, self-love is no longer just a poetic idea. It has become a lifeline. It's the force that keeps you grounded when everything else feels uncertain. To love yourself is to choose yourself even when no one else does. It means standing still in the middle of the storm and saying, "I am enough as I am." Real self-love is quiet power. It's the strength that doesn't shout, but simply endures. It's waking up in the morning and deciding to honor your peace before you check your phone. It's choosing to rest instead of overworking, to forgive instead of resenting, to walk away instead of begging to be seen. It is the invisible armor that protects your mind from the chaos of comparison and the constant need for validation. When you learn to love yourself deeply, you stop running after approval that was never yours to earn. You stop chasing people who only see fragments of your worth. You begin to build a life that feels aligned rather than performed. You move with calm confidence because you no longer fear being misunderstood. You are anchored by self-respect, not swayed by the tides of other people's opinions. Self-love is not isolation, it's inner alignment. It's the sacred act of returning to your truth each time the world tries to pull you away. When you cultivate this love, you no longer need to prove anything. You begin to live from a place of fullness instead of fear, and in that still, powerful space within you, everything else begins to fall beautifully into place. So let this be your reminder. Self-love isn't a luxury you wait to deserve. It is the daily choice that determines the quality of every breath, every relationship, every dream you will ever hold. When self-love is absent, the cracks in your life begin to widen quietly. Relationships that once felt nourishing start to drain you. Every conversation feels heavier because you keep searching for approval between the lines. The confidence that once carried you begins to fade, replaced by hesitation and self-doubt. You start to measure your worth by how others react, by how many times they call, or how loudly they applaud. Without self-love, even success feels empty. You may achieve, win, or be praised, yet a quiet voice inside keeps whispering, "It's still not enough." You begin to depend on others to refill the emptiness you refuse to heal within. Slowly, exhaustion seeps in, not the kind that sleep can cure, but the kind that comes from constantly begging for recognition from people who barely notice the light you bring. But here's the truth. The Stoics knew. A life without self-respect collapses, no matter how beautifully it's decorated. The absence of love for yourself poisons everything else. It twists relationships into transactions, turns ambition into anxiety, and makes even joy feel fragile. The more you look outward for validation, the further you drift from the source of real peace, the calm center within you. True transformation begins the moment you decide to return home to yourself. When you stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to feel worthy, when you realize that your own heart is the first place where love must begin, self-love rebuilds you from the inside out. It gives you solid ground beneath your feet and quiet fire in your spirit. With it, You stop breaking yourself into pieces to make others comfortable. You become whole again. So ask yourself tonight, what would my life look like if I treated myself as someone worth loving, protecting, and believing in? The answer to that question might just be the beginning of everything you've been searching for. Real, powerful, Stoic-inspired self-love doesn't make noise. It transforms you from the inside out. Slowly, deeply, and permanently, it becomes the quiet foundation beneath everything you are and everything you do. It teaches you to stand firm, unmoved by the chaos of others' opinions, because you have rooted yourself in something unshakable, genuine self-respect. When you practice this kind of love, you begin to see yourself through a different lens. You no longer chase acceptance, because you already know your value. You no longer crumble under judgment, because your peace is not up for negotiation. You stop comparing your path to anyone else's, because you finally understand that your journey is sacred, uniquely crafted by the universe for your own growth and becoming. The Stoics believed that true strength is calm and quiet, not loud, not boastful, not desperate for recognition. That is what self-love teaches you. It gives you the courage to walk away from noise, to set boundaries without guilt, and to protect your energy as fiercely as you would protect someone you love. You begin to make decisions not out of fear or need, but out of clarity and self-trust. And something remarkable happens when you reach this place. You no longer beg for love. You radiate it. You no longer chase worthiness. You embody it. You attract people and opportunities that match your inner peace, not your inner wounds. That is the secret power of Stoic self-love. It doesn't make you selfish. It makes you whole. So, if you are tired of feeling unseen or unappreciated, remember this truth. The love you keep searching for in others is waiting for you within. The moment you choose to honor yourself, you become powerful, peaceful, and absolutely unbreakable. This message is for you, the one who feels unseen, the one who gives endlessly but receives little, the one who silently wonders when it will finally be your turn to feel whole. You have spent so much of your life proving your worth, chasing after approval that disappears the moment you catch it. You've tried to be everything for everyone, and yet deep inside, there's still a quiet ache that whispers, "What about me?" But today, I want to remind you of something powerful. The journey of self-love is not about becoming someone new. It's about returning to who you were before the world told you who to be. It's about peeling away the layers of doubt, fear, and guilt that never belonged to you in the first place. Beneath all of it, your true self is still there, patient, radiant, waiting for you to come home. The Stoics believed that wisdom begins when you stop running from yourself. They taught that strength is found in stillness and peace in self-acceptance. You don't need to earn your worthiness. It was woven into your being the day you arrived in this world. Self-love simply asks you to remember that truth and live from it again. So before we take the next step together, pause and make a promise to yourself. Don't rush through this journey. Don't treat it like another goal to achieve. Let every reflection, every exercise, every thought sink in deeply, because each lesson you embrace will heal a part of you that forgot how to feel seen, safe, and loved. Say this quietly to yourself. I choose to love myself first, not as an act of ego, but as an act of wisdom, This is the sacred journey back to you. And it begins now. Rule 1. Stop pleasing everyone. Start pleasing you. If you care too much about what others think, you will always be their prisoner. Lao Tzu once said this truth thousands of years ago, and yet today it feels more relevant than ever. People-pleasing appears harmless on the surface. It feels kind, generous, and selfless. But in reality, it is one of the quietest ways you abandon yourself. Every time you say yes when your heart wants to say no, you chip away at your own integrity. You smile brightly when your soul is breaking. You show up for everyone except yourself. And over time, the weight of unspoken resentment grows heavier until you forget what your own happiness even feels like. The Stoics warned that peace of mind is impossible when you surrender your freedom to the opinions of others. Epictetus wrote, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In other words, you must be willing to disappoint others to stay true to yourself. The courage to stand firm in your truth will always feel uncomfortable at first, but it's the discomfort that sets you free. People-pleasing doesn't come from love. It comes from fear, fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of being misunderstood or left out. But the truth is, no amount of approval can fill the emptiness that self-betrayal creates. When you live for others' comfort, you lose the ability to comfort yourself. Learning to love yourself means honoring your peace as much as anyone else's. It means remembering that your needs, boundaries, and rest matter too. You are not selfish for choosing peace. You are wise for refusing to exhaust your soul in the name of being nice. Start practicing the art of saying no, not with anger, but with clarity and calm. You don't owe the world endless explanations for protecting your energy. Say no without guilt. Express your truth without apology. Choose your own comfort and peace over the endless demands of others. The people who truly love you will understand your boundaries. The ones who don't were never meant to walk beside you. This isn't cruelty. It's clarity. You can still be kind while choosing yourself. You can still help others without abandoning your own heart. Every time you choose yourself, you remind your soul, I matter. My needs matter. My dreams matter. And when that truth takes root within you, you stop begging for space in other people's lives because you finally built a home within your own. Rule 2. Treat your body like a temple. Socrates once said, "No man has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable." Your body is not just a collection of bones and flesh. It is the sacred home where your soul lives every single day. To truly love yourself, you must stop treating this home as if it were temporary, fragile, or unworthy of care. In today's world, we often treat our bodies like machines expected to perform without pause, to carry us through endless tasks without rest. We push ourselves beyond exhaustion, feed our bodies with chaos instead of nourishment, and then wonder why we feel so drained, anxious, and disconnected. The truth is simple. When you neglect your body, you dim the light of your mind and spirit. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What injures the hive injures the bee." In the same way, what harms your body harms your soul. Your physical health is not separate from your emotional or spiritual well-being. It is the foundation upon which everything else in your life is built. Treating your body like a temple means showing respect through action. It means choosing foods that fuel rather than numb you. It means moving your body not out of punishment, but out of gratitude for what it can do. It means resting without guilt. Because rest is not laziness, it's maintenance for your spirit. It means creating rituals of self-care that remind you daily, I am worthy of care. I am worthy of strength. I am worthy of love. You do not need a perfect body to honor it. You simply need presence, the decision to treat yourself as something sacred. Drink water as if you are watering life itself. Walk outside and let the sunlight remind you that you are part of something vast and alive. Feed your body with food that makes you feel energized, not empty. Breathe deeply and remember how miraculous it is to simply exist. Every small act of care sends a message to your subconscious. I am on my own side. Over time, that message becomes a belief, and that belief becomes strength. When you treat your body like a temple, you stop needing external validation because you already live in the sacred space of self-respect. Health is not about perfection. It's about reverence. And when you honor your body as the temple it truly is, you will feel your entire life shift. Clearer thoughts, steadier emotions, stronger confidence. This is what happens when you turn self-love into a living, breathing practice. Rule 3. Kill the comparison game. Lao Tzu once said, when you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everyone will respect you. Comparison is one of the most silent thieves of peace and joy that exists. You can begin your day feeling calm and grateful, and within minutes of scrolling through someone else's highlight reel, your spirit begins to shrink. You start to question your timing, your progress, even your worth. The Stoics taught that comparison is the mind's greatest illusion. Seneca wrote, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. When you constantly compare, you rob yourself of gratitude. You trade appreciation for envy. You abandon your own path to chase shadows that were never meant to be yours. Your journey was never supposed to look like anyone else's. You were not created to copy someone's timeline. Every soul has its own rhythm, its own lessons, delays, and blessings that unfold in divine timing. When you keep staring at someone else's chapter, you forget that your own story is still being written. You begin to see your life through the distorted lens of lack instead of the truth of growth. To kill the comparison game, you must practice awareness. The moment you catch yourself comparing, pause and shift your focus back to gratitude. Ask yourself, what do I already have that I once prayed for? Let that reminder ground you in abundance instead of absence. Replace envy with inspiration. If someone else's success stirs something inside you, let it awaken possibility, not jealousy. Limit what drains you. Spend less time scrolling and more time living. Replace the hours spent looking outward with time spent building inward. Journal your progress. Celebrate every small step forward. When you track your own growth, you stop feeling behind because you realize how far you've already come. Define what success means to you personally. Maybe it's peace. Maybe it's health. Maybe it's purpose. The world will always try to measure your worth by numbers and noise, but your soul measures differently. It values peace over popularity, meaning over attention, truth over illusion. When you live by your own measure, comparison loses its power. You no longer chase what sparkles for others. You choose what shines for you. Freedom begins the moment you stop competing and start appreciating. Repeat this to yourself until it sinks in. My journey is mine. I grow at my own pace. I am already enough. Rule 4. Speak to yourself like a best friend. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Imagine if those colors were words, the things you say to yourself every single day. Would your inner world be painted in peace or in pain? Most people don't realize how much damage their own voice causes. They speak to themselves in ways they would never dare to speak to someone they love. Think about it. If your closest friend came to you heartbroken, doubting their worth, and feeling lost, would you call them weak or unworthy? Of course not. You would comfort them. You would remind them of their strength, their goodness, their resilience. So why do you not offer yourself the same kindness? Your inner dialogue shapes your reality more than any external circumstance ever could. The Stoics believed that your mind is your most sacred space, and whatever thoughts you allow inside will define the quality of your life. When your self-talk is harsh, you slowly erode your confidence. But when it is patient and compassionate, you build an unshakable foundation of self-trust. Every time you criticize yourself, your mind records it as truth. Every time you speak to yourself with kindness, your soul grows stronger. It's not about ignoring your mistakes. It's about meeting them with understanding instead of cruelty. You can correct yourself without condemning yourself. You can grow without self-hate. Start paying attention to the language you use internally. Notice when you say, "I always mess things up," and gently replace it with, "I'm still learning, and that's okay." Change "I hate how I look" into "I'm grateful for what my body allows me to do." Transform "I'm not good enough" into "I'm improving every day." These aren't empty affirmations, they are mental exercises that rewire the brain toward confidence and peace. Speak your dreams into existence. Tell yourself, "I am capable. I am worthy. I am becoming better with every step." Just as your muscles grow through repetition, your self-worth strengthens through repeated acts of gentle encouragement. Make it a habit to celebrate effort, not just outcomes. Acknowledge your growth, not only your goals. And remember this: the way you talk to yourself sets the tone for how others will talk to you. When you treat yourself with love, you naturally attract people and opportunities that reflect that energy. The voice inside your mind is the most powerful companion you'll ever have. Make sure it becomes your ally, not your enemy. Repeat this truth until it becomes your nature. I speak to myself with love, patience, and power. That is where true confidence begins. Rule 5. Love your own company. Seneca once said, "He who is afraid of being alone is afraid of being free." Most people run from silence because it exposes what they have been avoiding: their own thoughts, emotions, and unmet truths. The world has taught us to fill every quiet moment with noise, every pause with distraction, and every emptiness with someone else's presence. But the Stoics believed that solitude is not loneliness. It is the birthplace of strength. Learning to love your own company means becoming comfortable with stillness. It means sitting with your thoughts without judgment, walking alone without restlessness, and finding peace in your own rhythm. When you can enjoy being with yourself, you stop seeking others to complete you. You begin to meet yourself fully. At first, solitude might feel awkward, even painful. You may feel an urge to escape it through screens, chatter, or endless activity, but stay a little longer. On the other side of discomfort lies discovery. The more you sit with yourself, the more you begin to understand what you actually think, feel, and desire. You start hearing your true voice, the one that's often buried under the world's expectations. The Stoics saw solitude as a sacred teacher. It teaches you that peace is not found in the presence of others, but in the presence of self-awareness. It reveals the truth that happiness isn't something you chase, it's something you create within. When you learn to love being with yourself, you stop fearing silence because it no longer feels empty, it feels alive. Make it a practice to spend intentional time alone. Go for a walk without your phone and notice the world's quiet details, the wind, the light, the rhythm of your own breath. Read books that awaken your mind. Write down what you discover about yourself when no one else is watching. Create small rituals that make solitude something to look forward to. A cup of tea, gentle music, a journal by candlelight. When you love your own company, you stop settling for connections that drain you. You no longer cling to people out of loneliness. You choose relationships that add peace, not chaos. You connect because you want to, not because you need to. That is the freedom Seneca spoke of, the kind that makes you whole, not dependent. Say this to yourself until it becomes true. I enjoy my own beautiful company. I am complete within myself. Because once you fall in love with your solitude, you'll realize you were never truly alone. You always had yourself. And that has always been enough. Rule 6. Chase goals that fire you up. Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." There is a certain kind of fire that awakens inside you when you pursue goals that truly belong to your soul, not goals designed by society, not dreams borrowed from others, but visions born from your own inner truth. That fire is the heartbeat of authentic self-love. Most people spend their lives chasing goals that look impressive but feel empty. They climb ladders that lead nowhere, working tirelessly for recognition that never satisfies. They live for applause instead of alignment. But when you chase goals that genuinely ignite your spirit, you stop existing and start living. Every morning becomes an invitation, not an obligation. You wake up with purpose because what you're doing finally feels like it matters. The Stoics taught that purpose gives life meaning. To love yourself is to prove to yourself through consistent effort that your dreams deserve your time. Discipline and faith. You cannot build self-respect on avoidance or fear. You build it by showing up every day for the life you say you want. Even when it's hard, even when no one is watching. Ask yourself, what makes me come alive? What do I feel drawn to even when no one understands? The answers to those questions are clues from your soul. Maybe your purpose is to create, to teach, to serve, to heal, or to explore. Whatever it is, stop waiting for perfect timing or external permission. Begin with what you have. Right now. Progress is not born from perfection, it's born from courage. And remember, chasing your goals doesn't mean burning yourself out. The Stoics believed in balance. Passion guided by wisdom. Effort guided by peace. Work with intention. Rest with purpose. You are not racing others. You are refining yourself. Every small, consistent step forward is an act of love toward your future self. When your days are aligned with what sets your heart on fire, life feels lighter, clearer, and more vibrant. You no longer need validation because your fulfillment comes from within. You no longer fear failure because your focus has shifted from outcome to growth. So remind yourself of this truth. I chase what makes me feel alive, not what makes me look successful. Because the moment you begin honoring what truly matters to you, your entire life starts to transform, not through force, but through the quiet power of self-respect and inner fire. Rule 7. Celebrate every win, big or small. Robert Brault once said, "Enjoy the little things, for one day you may look back and realize they were the big things." Self-love is not only about striving, improving, or reaching higher. It's also about pausing to recognize how far you've already come. Too often, we rush from one goal to the next without ever stopping to appreciate the quiet victories along the way. But the Stoics taught that wisdom and peace grow when we honor progress, not perfection. Celebrating your wins, no matter how small, trains your mind to see growth instead of lack. Did you wake up early to care for yourself today? That's a win. Did you speak kindly to yourself instead of letting your inner critic win? That's strength. Did you face something hard and refuse to give up? That's progress worth honoring. When you begin to acknowledge these moments, you teach your brain to associate effort with pride, not pressure. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one." That is what celebration does. It reminds you that you are already living as the person you once hoped to become. It transforms self-doubt into self-trust and shifts your focus from what's missing to what's growing. Most people wait for others to notice their accomplishments before they allow themselves to feel proud. But true self-love means learning to clap for yourself even when no one else does. It means looking in the mirror and saying, "I'm proud of you." Not because you're perfect, but because you're trying, healing, and showing up. That's courage. Make celebration a daily ritual. Each night, write down 3 things you did well, or moments that made you feel grateful. They can be as simple as staying patient during a difficult conversation or taking time to rest when you needed it. When you practice noticing your small victories, they begin to multiply. Your brain becomes attuned to gratitude instead of criticism. You'll find that over time, your energy shifts. You walk with quiet confidence because you are no longer chasing validation, you're generating it from within. You no longer depend on applause because your heart has learned to cheer for itself. Every win, every effort, every act of resilience is proof that you're becoming stronger, wiser, and more at peace. Say it with conviction. I celebrate my growth every single day, because you deserve to be proud not only for who you're becoming, but for the courage it takes to keep going. You started listening to this because a part of your soul was tired of waiting for others to love you the way you deserve, tired of chasing validation that never fills the emptiness, tired of believing that peace is something you must earn instead of something you can create. But now, you understand the truth that the ancient Stoics lived by. Self-love is not vanity. It is virtue. It is not selfishness. It is survival. To love yourself more than anyone else is to finally come home to stop searching for belonging in people, titles, or approval, and to find it within the quiet strength of your own heart. It means choosing yourself daily, even when it's uncomfortable. Even when old habits of self-doubt try to pull you back, it means forgiving the versions of you that didn't know better, and honoring the version of you that's still learning. Some days you will feel powerful, glowing, with confidence and clarity. Other days you will stumble, fall back into old patterns, and question your worth. That's not failure, that's being human. The Stoics never sought perfection. They sought mastery over their reactions, discipline in their thoughts, and peace in their hearts. Your journey is no different. Every time you return to yourself gently, without shame, you strengthen that inner bond. You no longer beg for love because you have learned to feed your own soul. You no longer fear rejection because you know that your worth is not up for negotiation. You no longer measure yourself by the world's chaos because your peace has become your compass. This is what it means to be whole again. So keep choosing yourself through boundaries that protect your energy, through goals that ignite your fire, through words that heal instead of harm. Keep celebrating your growth. Even when no one notices, keep loving yourself loudly, because your self-respect teaches the world how to treat you. Remember this final affirmation as your anchor in every storm. I love myself louder than ever. I honor my journey. I am enough now and always. That is the essence of Stoic self-love, a love that does not demand, does not chase, and does not fade. A love that stays, because it begins and ends with you.